Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
We're here. And we were all on time.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for joining us. I have the ladies, Ginny and Shayna. Yay. Uh, Today, we are going to be talking about change. That's something that my team hates when I
It's
talk
so
about.
funny. Shayna just went like, and I'm like, I love change. I was literally thinking, I love change, but only like for good reasons.
I don't mind change. It's just that it's a dirty word to most. So
So I took that one saying that Zach always used, and I threw it into this. You know how he says, what was it? Good conflict is good, bad conflict
Mhm.
is bad. So good change is good, bad change
Mhm.
is bad. But
Yeah, but
how do
like,
we know?
I'll rearrange my furniture just for the fun of it because I like change, and that
I
drives
kind
the
of do
rest of
that
my
too.
family crazy. Drives them
I
crazy.
mean, I've changed my logo 3 times. How
I've
about
changed
that?
mine twice.
Change your underwear
Changed
every
my
day.
changed my name
Every other day.
twice. Technically, we changed our logo 3 times with the name change.
Well, let's get everybody welcomed in here. We got a lot of people coming in, and Shayna, I think because Jason wanted to peddle some pew pews, we couldn't go live on my office elf. So
No, we can't.
sorry.
It's fine.
Uh,
It was all about those pew-pews.
Good morning, Garrison, Mike. Don't
Morning.
be giving me crap today.
That being said, if anybody wants to support the Shriners, we have our big, huge pew-pew raffle coming up,
Hmm.
and they give away hundreds of pew-pews.
Hundreds.
So
That's a lot
hundreds.
of pew
Contact
pew
Jason.
raffle.
It is a lot. Like it is literally hours of them doing
Challenging
it.
the
It's
status quo
huge.
is his specialty. You
Nah.
know,
Oh,
Paul, I think this is how we know that we're actually entrepreneurs. Uh, because when you challenge the status quo, when you work for somebody else, it's not always welcomed. It,
That's the
it
truth.
kind of comes across as argumentative
Mhm.
uh, or insubordinate. And when I became my own boss, I love change, but I hated change before that. Uh, but challenging the status quo, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for joining, man. We love seeing you on here. Andrew says, sometimes I try to work on units the wrong way to throw the customer off the scent, good or bad change. Yeah.
I don't think that's a change. That's just sheer trickery.
That is trickery. That's that's true. Uh, so, did either of you get a Bible verse, or was I the only one?
Well, I actually thought about something in the Bible, but it's not necessarily a verse.
oh!
Okay.
Speaking of trickery, the first one I opened up to was honesty.
Okay.
Because
You
Let's
want me to
go
do that
for
one?
it.
well,
Let's go for it. I was going to
I
go
was
about
thinking
purpose,
about
but
Genesis. Like I was just thinking about Genesis on this whole topic, like creation and creativity and just that kind of spirit of approaching entrepreneurship.
She wants to do
no,
Genesis.
that's true.
Mm.
God, God had an idea. He was an innovator
Hmm.
and maybe an entrepreneur, but he couldn't figure out how to get it to bring a profit to him. Everything he tried just kind of, I don't know. He didn't make mistakes, but he had to clean up some messes. So
Yeah.
there's
But
that.
yeah, but he created man and then realized that he was missing something really awesome. So he created woman so that the man didn't have to be lonely.
And then that
So
was a mistake.
I mean,
I think
you
we're
would
getting
be
off the
lonely right
rail.
now, EJ. You would be sitting here all alone if God did not create women.
I don't
So,
think he'd be sitting here.
Probably true. I don't think
but
I
that
would be
is
sitting.
innovation. I mean, that is
Adam,
innovation at its finest.
I'm pretty sure Adam was created without a woman.
I have no clue what he just said.
All right.
It sounded like there was a guitar
Did I
playing.
go? Oh, I said I'm pretty sure Adam was the only man created without a woman.
Yes. Okay.
Is
So
my audio crap now?
it's getting weird.
I think you're back now.
So, but anyway, that was on my mind. Like, and obviously we're not going to read the whole chapter of creation, but like creation is really innovation, and God just like seeing what needed to be done and what needed to be improved and continuously improving for a week. So I think that's a pretty cool way to look at it, but I didn't pick an actual verse.
Well, there are 4 verses in here on creativity, and I'll read this while we wait on EJ to come back to us. Ephesians 2:10 says, "We are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus as we do the good things He planned for us long ago." And we should be like Christ, right? Exodus 35:31, He has filled him with the Holy Spirit, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and all kinds of skills, including being creative. Romans 12:6, I think we've completely lost EJ now. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. And Psalms 104:24, Lord, you have made many things with your wisdom. You have made many things. With your wisdom, you made them all. The earth is full of your riches. It says, God of universe, your creativity is awe-inspiring. From our vast solar system to the intricate details you painted on a butterfly's wing. Show me how to use the skills and talents you put in me to add to the beauty around me. Open my eyes to appreciate what others have created and give praise where praise is due. Thank you for uniquely gifting me.
That's awesome. And
Are you back now, EJ?
I think I'm back.
you know,
I'm back.
the Great Flood and Noah's Ark also kind of comes to my mind too, about a fresh start. And you're talking about rebranding, EJ, and it's almost like rebranding humankind at that time. So I think there's definitely a spirit of continuous improvement and innovation throughout Scripture.
So there's this thought that I'm pretty sure most women do, and I'm probably not the one to be talking about it, but when a woman changes her hairstyle drastically, that's the sign of them turning a new page or something, starting a new chapter. Like it's all different now. So like, you guys probably are looking at me like I'm crazy. I feel like you are, but
I feel like I never get to change my hairstyle because
I don't.
You know why? Because you guys are happy.
My mom cuts my hair like twice a year. So,
but you know how sometimes there's women that are like just chop their hair off and go something crazy. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Screw it. I'm all in. Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I guess I'm happy, but like, I also like love my husband and he likes long hair. So I leave my hair long just because he likes it that way. So there's a little bit of that in there, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that like make a big personal change like that to just because they're going through something. I think that's probably true.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. Let's I have 4 things. I'm gonna try to set this thing up here so I can look at you guys closer.
EJ, do you want to pray first? Because we talked about Scripture, but I don't think we actually prayed.
Go ahead.
You want me to pray? Okay. Lord, lead this conversation this morning. Allow it to bless anybody that's listening now and in the future. Help us to see your creativity and innovation and to listen to your guidance when we're making those types of decisions in our business, in our personal life. We thank you for the people that are joining us. We thank you for this friendship that we have on the grind and for the people that show up every day and do this. We thank you for the beautiful weather. Not sure if it's everywhere, but on the East Coast, it's pretty beautiful right now. And we thank you for the storms that we go through sometimes so that we can really appreciate the beautiful weather, both personal storms and actual storms. Allow us to appreciate the days that things are going great and are beautiful. So we thank you for all that. We thank you for this conversation, and we ask that you bless it and that we all have a beautiful, safe day. Amen.
Amen. All right. So I have 4 things we want to talk about. One, we're going to continue very briefly the topic that Jason and Mike had, innovators mindset, and we're going to roll it into some other action. So, and then we're going to talk about challenging the status quo, embracing calculated risk, and overcoming resistance to change if we can get through it all. But first, what do you think it means to have an innovator's mindset?
Who are you asking, EJ? Which one?
Whoever wants to talk. Shayna.
To me, an innovator's mindset is that visionary. It's that person who's constantly thinking of how to improve, how to do things differently. And it could be just all of a sudden you see something like as simple as like this little bag and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got this innovative idea. And that's what I think of whenever I think of that, is that visionary role inside of your business.
For me, I think it's to not be afraid of change and to not be afraid to hear what your customers want, what God wants from you, what your colleagues are nudging you towards, and to be open. So yeah, and to also I feel like I come up with the best ideas and have the most innovation in a place of stillness. So you have to take some time away from all of the craziness. And often for me, it's a long drive, or I'm listening to a podcast episode and my mind just wanders or something like that. So maybe this podcast episode right now will spark some innovation for somebody. We'll say something that will spark an idea in their mind. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love new ideas. What my team hates is when I come in and say, hey guys, I've been thinking, or hey, I got an idea. They're like, oh God, what's EJ doing now? So I had wrote out some thoughts here. Approaching challenges and opportunities with a focus on creativity, experimentation, and continuous learning. Being open to new ideas, willing to take risks, and comfortable with uncertainty. So for me, I didn't really know that I was an innovator. I thought I was a troublemaker. I thought that like I'm kind of controlling. I want things to go my way, and I like trying things different. Like if I don't like the way something works, I want to find a better way. And being an entrepreneur has helped me in that sense. Good morning, Gasper. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about innovators, Gasper. So join in with us. I like to find better ways to do things. Like I've always hated the comment, well, this is how we've always done it. Like I had a lot of jobs before I started my own job, because I still have a job. I own my job. I would go to these new places and I'd say, well, why do we do it like this? And they say, well, we've always done it that way. Like, so why don't we do it this way? Well, we've always done it that way. Like nobody cared. They just want to just keep doing the same thing every day. And I just knew I wasn't cut out for factory work, because that's all we do every day. So some key characteristics of an innovator: curiosity, asking questions, exploring possibilities, wanting to understand why. Problem solving. All of us are problem solvers. That's why we're in this business. Resilience, being persistent and adaptable in the face of setbacks. Collaboration. Collaboration, I don't think is always a characteristic of an innovator, but the successful ones probably. Uh, because you realize that you have those ideas and you need other people to help you make them great.
I
Mhm.
was going to
So
say,
that's why
in that case, there, it's like both me and Austin are visionaries. And so sometimes when I have an idea, he can have an idea, and then we merge those ideas together. Um, it definitely is a little bit more humbling that, your idea is not always the best. But having collaboration with other visionaries or even the integrators, because they see things a little bit different, or trying to piece it together and being a part of that kind of collaboration is also valuable as well.
Well, I think it's cool how EJ, you've been going through a whole rebrand, but you didn't just do it in a vacuum. You didn't just like do your rebrand and put it out there. You asked for feedback from your trusted people that you've surrounded yourself with to give you feedback, which I think is the best way to approach it. So as innovators, we can come up with ideas, but it's important to, the direction you want to go in, and that's really important. But you ask for constructive feedback.
Mhm.
absolutely. You guys were probably getting tired of me asking questions about what do you think about this little character? How about that one? Is the
Nope.
colors
I,
right?
I
Uh,
love it. I feel privileged that you want feedback from me. So I don't get tired of it. I love it. And I don't think anybody in our circle is tired of giving feedback to each other because we kind of all thrive on that.
Yep.
Zach does put me on do not disturb every now and again. Uh, and Joe, you're right. And I'll bet this was tough for you coming up uh, as a young guy in the Landers operation. Because you're this kind of person too. You want to find better ways, but sometimes you like to just stay the same. There's things that you like and you want it to stay the same, and then there's lots of things that you don't like and you want to make it better. Uh, and I remember the stories that she told of the long-haired Joe Seeley challenging Dean. Sometimes the young people uh, that was you. That was you. You was the young guy, and now you're listening to Will uh, come in as a young guy and try to change the way you've done it the whole time. But I like that
The
you guys have been open to the feedback.
Yeah, the cool thing is Will is an innovator. It's really funny. Like the other day, Joe actually said, that kid, he's an inventor. He takes tools that we use in our trade and then figures out a way to adapt them and make them better, which is really neat. It's kind of neat to see him be creative, but he does come with new ideas. And I have many times seen Joe go, "Wow, Will, that's really cool. I think I'm going to do the same thing now." Like so Will comes with new ideas, being completely new to the field. And that's a point I make every time we have a new hire in my full-time job. And I'm kind of talking with them, like especially on our leadership team, having somebody new to your team come with fresh set of eyes, like if you're not open to that, then you're not doing something right, because somebody that comes in completely out of the blue, they sometimes can see your cobwebs that you haven't seen for a really long time and have some super cool fresh ideas. So it's kind of fun having somebody new on your team, and you should never make them feel like they're not open to share new ideas, because you'll miss out on something great.
Absolutely.
Ha ha ha.
So yeah, she does. She does. Jenny needs prayer every day, uh, more than the
I'll
she has
take it.
a
I'll
full
always
time
take
job.
prayer.
Uh, all right. So challenging the status quo. If you don't know what that means, it's challenging why you do things the same way every day. And I'm not talking about uh, Saul's habit of going to get Cuban coffee every day. Uh, that's not the status quo. That's just a routine. But if you do something a certain way, like in your job, running your business, whatever, the industry, the appliance repair industry has some status quo. There's some things that people just genuinely don't want to do, or they only do it this way, and everybody does it. And then a disruptor comes in and changes things,
Lock
and
ring.
everybody looks at them. Lock ring is, I mean, challenges when they put ice makers inside of refrigerators, not in the freezer part. Like, you're going to make some fails, right? LG tried this linear compressor thing, kind of blew up in their face. But you got to try things, right? So what's something that you guys have challenged in your business to break the old habits, change the status quo? It's like, this is what everybody does, but I'm going to do it this way.
Well, for us, we are really trying hard in our community, and I think this is true for anybody that is an adopter of the alliance mentality, and that's elevating the industry. We really put a lot of stock in professionalism and standing behind what we're doing for our customers with a guarantee, and setting ourselves apart from people who are just dabbling in the industry and really being those experts and professionals. So I feel like we all should be doing that, but that is a disruptor to our industry because there's a lot of people who don't, and they're just kind of skating by or going and working on something. They don't get it fixed. It's not right. And then they just leave the customer high and dry and say they can't figure it out. So if that's us, we're given a refund. So that's something different in our industry. Not everybody's doing that. Not everybody has guarantees and refunds and uniformed people and investing in education and all those things. So that's what we're doing to set ourselves apart and do something different. So we really focus on that as part of our brand.
Yeah. Shayna, your whole business is kind of a disruptor.
It is 100% a disruptor. And that's where, like, every single quarter we have our quarterly meeting, and there's always within that meeting, there's always a, hey, this is not working. We've got to change it. And so we're constantly reinventing and constantly moving forward, like adding EOS and making EOS a part of our structure about 2 years ago. That was a huge change, getting out of the old habit and trying to not think about those old ways and the things that have kept us stuck. So even like this week, we're at that point again. I've got to come up with new ways to actually start reaching more people. For the longest time it was only one Facebook page, and then AJ, we got involved with you guys because of Zach, and the appliance industry really truly has been our push for the last 2.5 years. This will be our, how many PSAs have I been to? 3? This will be my 3rd PSA, I think.
Yeah.
And fourth. This will be my 4th PSA. So it's been, like, I think 3rd. I don't know. But anyways, that's been our push. And so then we added a new industry push on it in the last year. And that one's been a bit of a struggle because I don't have that same kind of collaboration with anybody in that industry like I do with the appliance. And even this week, I like all of a sudden was sitting here and I was like, oh, I got a great idea. This is what we're going to do. And it's a little bit more of a cold lead type of thing versus going to expos and just figuring out a specific industry and going to those kinds of events. So for us, we're always having to change and always having to reinvent. And I don't know. I don't feel like we can just sit back and relax. We're always on the edge of our seat of what's next. What's the next technology that we need to add? What's the next platform that we need to add? Yeah. So it's always changing here.
Yeah, we got some good ones coming in here. Doug mentioned the EOS was a immediate return on investment. Saul says not charging your value. So a lot of people want to charge what they think people will pay. They say, "Oh my gosh, they wouldn't pay those prices. Why would you do the blue book? Why would you raise your service charge over $75? Nobody's
Uh,
going to do it." Well,
yeah, or they've called and, hey, the guy next door is charging 75, so that's what I need to charge. It's definitely about getting out of
yeah,
your mindset with that. We were the highest priced electrical company for a long time, and then we had some others that finally met us up near the end. So
Well, it's
here's
kind
some
of,
cool stuff from me.
generic parts
It
scheduling,
says,
return visit. Good.
so, an Action is one of the companies that they ship directly to the customer, the parts. So there's that. There's people that do the waiving the service charge or not. Uh, I know my friend Justin Gandy. He's the only person I know that gives a 5-year warranty on his sealed system jobs, and everybody thinks he's crazy. Uh, I remember 3 years ago, TK bringing up in some of the group video calls. Uh, what about the idea of a maintenance plan where you go in and you service everything in the house and charge them an annual rate? And most of the people kind of dismissed it and said it was a kind of a dumb idea and it would never work. People won't do that. And we've implemented it, and I've got 50,000 in recurring revenue so far this year. Uh, it's the things that other people don't want to do. I'll tell you. Well, we'll get to this part when we get down there. So innovation can be really fun.
So
If
EJ,
you
I
can
just want
come
to,
up with some,
you just mentioned the word something that somebody else doesn't want to do. That is definitely part of our brand. So we thrive on doing the things that nobody else wants to do. The things that nobody else wants to work on. We'll work on all of the things, all of the brands. And I think you guys are the same way. But that's different than some of the people in our industry. Some people just don't want to work on dishwashers. So they just don't. And so they lose customers to people who do want to work on dishwashers.
my favorite competitors are the ones that don't want to work on Samsung and LG.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So innovation can be fun. Change can be fun, because when you make yours or somebody else's job or their life better because of something you changed, then it's good. If it's not going to do that, then why are you changing it?
Mm-hmm.
You think about, why are you changing the status quo by not cherry picking?
Yep.
And Andrew's probably remembering that I went through a cherry picking phase where I refused to do dishwashers and microwaves, and my competitors probably thanked me. But now I like them. I embraced it. So sometimes you got to go back and say, what, I was wrong, and keep moving. But analyzing why you're going to change something. Sometimes we just come up with an idea and say, hey, I'm going to change the whole thing. But was you looking for a reason to change it? Does it really need to be changed? And is it worth upending everything? Doug remembers that face too. Yeah. Doug is so kind and gentle when he tells you that you're wrong, and you don't even know that he's telling you you're wrong until after you realize you're wrong. Love you, Doug. So let's talk about embracing the calculated risk. I just kind of started embracing that idea because there's so many people around me, even the people that support me, that try to slow me down in a good way because they're afraid I'm going to do too much and we're going to start making mistakes. And I've went through some phases where stuff didn't work out that well, but I can be kind of a gambler. and I like to say it sometimes, like not gambling in my money at the casino necessarily, but I'll take a risk because I'm betting on me. I bet that I'm going to win, and anybody on my team is going to win as long as we do these things. But I have learned to step into things instead of jumping in, and make sure we got some kind of plan. But I have to stay on the side of not analysis paralysis. Uh, and sometimes I get half the idea and I'll jump in, but I'll get half of it. I'll get enough that I know what's going to happen, and then there's some things you just got to figure out as you go. And if you get stuck on trying to get all the details, you won't ever do anything.
Right.
But once you guys talk about how do you do your analyzing for a calculated risk? You guys have both made big changes.
How do I point to Shayna? There we go.
I don't want to answer this one first. I don't know. How do I analyze for calculated risk? I mean, I don't do it by myself. Definitely, I've got to surround myself with the people around me, and I got to be open to listen to their critique. And if they tell me it's stupid, I need to listen. And sometimes I still don't think it's stupid after, but a lot of times it is about going back and just rethinking my thought process. And I would say that, I don't know, that's how I do.
Well, for one of the examples we just talked about in our mastermind on Monday night, for me to kind of just take a break for a quarter and just sit in where we are right now and feel where we are and kind of assess things, and serve who we're already serving. So like for Outcome Academy, we typically launch a new cohort every quarter of the year. And so for the first time in several quarters, we're going to take a minute and not launch, like actively seek out a new cohort this quarter and just serve the people that we're serving. And that would never have even occurred to me to do that because I'm just like full speed ahead all the time. And so I talked earlier about taking a minute to reflect and like have some quiet so that you can innovate. And Doug kind of said, what would it look like if you didn't do that right now? And you just took a minute to think. And so having those people around you to contribute to your thinking, like Shayna just said, like that is life-changing. So for me, that was somebody contributing to my innovation, because I can't innovate and improve the things that we're doing if I'm constantly full speed ahead, looking for, I guess, new people to work with. So taking a break to just serve who you're serving and maybe not innovate for a minute is probably a really good thing too. So it kind of goes against what we're talking about right now, but then you can really assess what you need to change instead of just trying to change things all the time and trying to get better. You might be doing just fine, or you might be able to tweak something small in a process to knock it out of the park. So thank you, Doug, for being that person for me on Monday. That was like the amount of stress that it removed for me was amazing. So now I feel like I can take on the whole world.
I'd say to Paul's question, he asked, what is a cohort? To me, the cohort's visionary is the integrator. So, I'm visionarying things and I need the cohort, the person, to go out there and actually put the action in place.
Yeah.
So when I was using cohort, I put together a group of people each quarter to go through my program. So that's what I was referencing as a cohort. Okay. And then they go through it together and they bounce ideas off of each other and hold each other accountable. So that's what I was referencing. But I did not seek out forming a new cohort this quarter so that I could focus on the people that I'm already serving.
So Doug says, in the EOS, they call you a visionary, a crazy, intense idea man. you need a strong integrator to lay down the infrastructure and make your dreams come true. And I finally have that in Stephanie, indirectly, but she makes that uh, happen. Dan, EOS is
Hold on. I'll be right
it's
back.
awesome.
I'm looking
Okay,
for my book.
so
Well,
while they're finding that,
Yeah, I was.
look at them. They both
Here you
got
go.
the same thing. Read that
this is my
book.
big.
Read this
And
one. Read Traction.
actually, Dr. Dan and everybody else listening, if you're interested in EOS and traction, the next book, well, look at her. That's a pretty
I was
one.
gonna say this is a simpler version
We're kind of
of
junkies.
that.
The next book in the book club after the home service
One more.
millionaire is Traction, and it's going to be led by Ginny. As it'll probably take a few months, and
Yeah.
we're going to get some direct leadership there.
Oh.
So, embracing calculated risk. All right, what the heck is? There you go. There's a book.
What the heck is OS? That one doesn't take a couple months.
The definition I have here for calculated risk is taking a calculated risk means making a decision where the potential rewards are weighed against the possible downsides based on careful analysis and consideration. It's about understanding the risks involved and gathering all relevant information, evaluating the probabilities of different outcomes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so when I come up with an idea, I talk to key people in my life, in my winner circle, that I think would have good input on this. I don't just find the people that's going to say, yeah, that's a great idea. I want to talk to the people that are going to help me analyze what could go wrong. Because all I see in the idea is what can go right. And then I need to slow down and think about, why would this not work? What is it going to take to make it work? And it's not just the money, it's the manpower, the resources, the time. Sometimes it's a location, but having space. Like I have this current crazy idea of selling appliances, and TK just went through this, and he strongly advises against it. And because it kind of blew up and fell apart right in front of his face, and he really wanted to make it happen. And he tried the same thing. He sought out advice and different things, but some of the pieces weren't right. Some of the logistics just wasn't right, and it wasn't the right timing. So I found these people that have done it successfully. I found people that did it unsuccessfully. And I'm still doing it, even though some of them advise not to. But I'm taking that feedback and I'm trying to find guardrails that can keep me on the right path so that I can do this successfully. And we're going to see what happens. But if you're looking for a calculation for the calculated risk, I got this from a guy in the early group chats that we had. Said, if you know what your average ticket value is, and then you think, how much does this idea cost? And how many sold jobs would you need to get off of this idea in order to pay for itself? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying break even. So if I think I want to get a billboard, I just got billboards, and the billboard costs $500 a month. Do I think it's reasonable to think that at an average ticket value of $250 for round numbers, I would get 2 extra calls based on that? Now, the billboard's a hard thing because it's not a direct return on investment. Nobody calls and says, hey, I saw your billboard and I had to call you. It's one of those, things that just kind of you pass through and subconsciously you know it, but it's brand recognition. So I have to really think, is it realistic to think that 2 people a month are going to call us in some way, shape, or form related to this billboard? I don't know.
Well, I would say you need like 5 people a month, to be honest, because if you're thinking just the revenue they bring in, then yes, but like you don't actually make $250 off of a $250 call. You might make $100. So then you need 5. So like looking at it that way, but also we are always going to lean on the more fiscally conservative side on everything so that we're kind of planning ahead for things like that. But that's funny.
I think he's kind of mixing this up. Lexington is not across the street from the Corvette Museum. It's about 3.5 hours away.
Oh.
But thank you. That would be great. I love Corvettes. So yeah, you're right. So just thinking on minimums and averages, yeah. But if you think about your service call, the service call is the minimum you're going to get off a scheduled appointment, right? So if your service call is $100, you need 5 service calls to do it, and hopefully you sell something at 4 of them, and you make a lot more money. So like I started doing Thumbtack, and Thumbtack can be like $10 to $20 a lead. Now,
that's worth it.
That's just a lead. That's just them calling me. Now, how many are we going to book? Well, I have my office help, so they book most if I get the right kind of leads. So I have to know what's going on to see, am I targeting people that are outside of my service area? Are people calling me that don't want the service I have? How do I optimize this? And, people look at Angie Leads and Thumbtack and Yelp in a negative light because you too, Gasper, have a great day, man. They think, well, they're sending these leads out to all these people. This ain't a lead show either. And it is wrong. I'm not saying lead gen is great, but if you're going to play the game, you have to know how to play.
Well, some of those have free options too. So like to your point about the billboard, and it's just, there's so many opportunities to get your brand and your face out there so that people, when they think of appliance repair, they think of EJ's in your community. And that's just one way to do it. So when there's all these different decisions you're making, what I hate to hear is people just spending thousands and thousands of dollars because they're guessing on something and they're not thinking it through like you're saying to do. So whatever decision you make, when you are getting ready to make a big decision or invest in something, you should think through those things. Like, how many realistic leads am I going to get from this? Or what is the purpose behind it? So with the billboard, the purpose might not be to generate 10 customers. It might be just for brand recognition or even to generate leads on hires, like we talked about in the Elevate Tommy Mello book. Like, you can't really value brand recognition. You can't say like it's worth this much money to do this billboard, but you could try it for a few months. And if you don't see any difference, then you could always not do it.
Yeah.
It's, I see people posting online that they sign these exorbitant contracts with marketing companies or like Google Ads contracts with people to place their ads, and to the tune of $5,000 to $10,000 a month. And then they're in a contract like that. That's where you have to be careful. As long as you're going to try something that you can get out of without being obligated for a month or two, I don't see a huge harm in trying something out, like a new marketing tactic.
Yeah. Now the billboard is a 12-month contract, so that's a little bit more of a risk, but it does.
But it was $6,000 for the year, not $6,000 for the month.
Yeah. And it sounds it solves the problem that I was looking to solve, and you nailed it. So not all of it is a return on investment. Some of it will just, hey, this is a risk. We'll take it and we'll see what happens, right? overcoming resistance to change. This is probably the key thing, because us innovators and visionaries, we come up with these crazy ideas, and other people around us, uh, if we don't do it right, or they ain't the right type of people, uh, emphasis on the first one, uh, it can blow up in your face. It'll never work. And, if you don't get the right people around you to support these ideas and help you make them happen, you're just going to have resistance, and it's not going to work. So I shared with you guys a list of 10 different things that ChatGPT gave me uh, to overcome resistance to change. I highlighted three I like, but what what is a way that you guys think we can overcome resistance, Shayna?
And I can't even find your notes on that, so I can't even see which ones you highlighted. But I don't know. It just really, truly, you just got to be open minded. Like that's the biggest thing. And um, you, I always think of those stories of some of those older businesses that they basically went under. You've got the
Kodak.
Polaroid. Yeah, Kodak, Polaroid, like that's a huge one that sticks in my mind. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be the is it like maybe Fuji? I don't know. I'm trying to think what the names of the cameras are now, that I want to be like them, that are constantly thinking and evolving. And so being open to change is to me the very first step.
I feel like explaining why is important. Even with raising our kids, we didn't ever say, just do it because I said so. It was, don't touch that because it's going to hurt your hand because it's hot. And then we told them, if we just said, don't touch that, then of course, the curiosity of a child, they're going to touch it. But if you tell them why and then they touch it, then it's on them. They knew the consequence. Same thing with your team. If you have a bright idea, like EJ was saying earlier, like I come up with these ideas and they're like, oh man, not another idea. But if you say, I have this idea, and then you tell them the problem that you're trying to solve in your business or to make their life easier, and then involve them in it and ask them if they have any other ideas along that line or something. It's just that collaboration with your team so that it's not happening to them and they're part of it and they understand the why. I think that's a huge way to overcome resistance in your team.
Yeah. Imagine if we could just make all of our great ideas become their ideas, kind of like a reverse psychology.
Yeah.
So that was one of them, Jenny. Communicate the vision and benefits. What's in it for you? What is it we're actually trying to do here? Because if you just go in and change policies and procedures, it's just like, well, why are we doing that? What we're doing is working, but maybe they don't know, because it works in this box that you're in, but on the other side of the box that you don't see, it's a train wreck. You know what I mean? So my guys will sometimes say uh, about the routing, right? I'm very difficult for my office help to work with because I change stuff a lot.
No.
But they're very easy to work with. But we have to work on that wavelength where I have to understand what's going on behind the scenes. That's why I went there, and I meet them and I see how they do things so that I can figure out how to make it work for me or make what I do work for them. Either way. So, like, my guys will say, why is our routing like this? Why do we have a bad route today? Well, all they see is this. They see their schedule, their route. And then I got to look at it and say, well, this makes sense because all of this other stuff happened on the other side of the schedule. And you don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is a train wreck. And then we have to go back to that side and say, okay, why did this happen? And then we got to put up the guardrails. That's why we have our maps. our service area maps and notes in the calendar to tell them where to put calls and why and who. So all of these things happen, and you don't always know what's happening on the other side or why. So communicating why is always part of it. I have another one here. This one's one of my favorites. Addressing the concerns and fears.
Mhm.
Understand that resistance often comes from fear of the unknown or discomfort with new ways of doing things. Address these fears directly by providing reassurances, clarifying misunderstandings, and offering concrete examples of how the change will be managed. So, why and the benefits is part of it, but if you can anticipate the things that they're worried about,
Mhm.
why would they not want to make this change? And use that in the communication of the benefits and say, this is why it's going to help. So I recently changed my pay structure. I went from straight commission to an hourly plus commission as a performance base. And if you hit certain KPIs, you go to the next level and you can make more. So I have one guy that's been with me the whole time, and Paul's responding back to the Corvette thing, I think. But anyways, I knew that he likes the way things are, and changing something drastic like their pay is huge.
Mhm.
Like, don't mess with my money. You know what I mean? We can say we don't do it for the money, but it matters.
Yeah.
So when I had to present this to him, I did it in a way that was respectful. Like, I have to change it. He knew why, and I spent 3 months trying to figure out how to change it and testing different things. And I gathered all the data, and then finally on the day, instead of saying, "Okay, here we're changing it, and this is what," but I want to show you and gain some kind of buy-in. So I was able to show here. I know what your concern is here and here and here, and the numbers showed that it worked. So when it finally matched, and I was able to show it and overcome those rejections or resistance before it happened, it went so smooth. But
Mhm.
until you can do that, sometimes you don't need to.
Well, part of it is that you care. And I think your team knows that, EJ. Like, you're not just coming in there and having all these top-down ideas and telling them what they're doing next. Like, you actually let them know that you did spend time considering their feelings and trying to address it. And I feel like they know that about you, and it's conveyed when you explain all that. So that's just part of your character as a leader.
Yeah.
So we have to recognize that people are going to have concerns and meet them where they are. And you're good at that.
Well, thank you. That's why I like you, Jenny. You always make me feel good. Shayna, on the other hand,
I'm just ornery. I just can't help it.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So we're almost at the hour.
Yeah.
I didn't finish all of these,
There
but
might have to be a part 2.
I don't know if we got enough for part 2. But I could talk about this for days. Uh, the last one quickly, and then we'll go to closing comments. Create quick wins. Implement changes in stages if possible. Allow for small wins, which helps with the buy-in, and then keep going. So, like, you might change. Like, I've had a offering that I thought I would do for a property manager, and I tried it with one property manager instead of throwing it out there for everybody. Let's just try it a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and then see if it works. And then we see, okay, it works. Cool. Let's offer it to everybody. So small wins, quick wins, patient and persistent. Understand that you're going to have some resistance, even if you do all the stuff to eliminate it. That's going to be there. Be persistent and deal with the people. Understand that whatever they're feeling. Yeah. See, Shayna makes people cry. That's why.
And I'm probably the reason he's not coming to book club right now. Probably
You, prob-
me.
you probably are. And Zach, too. Them two started it. And
I've never made Zach cry.
you let it,
He's
oh,
he's
you,
he's too big of a D, just like me. So
you made him cry behind the scenes. All right. Closing thoughts. What you got?
All right. My closing thought is I lead change all the time with my colleagues at the hospital. People need to know where they're going. They need to know the plan and they need to feel like they're part of the plan. So having a really great vision is only a piece of it, but the way that you lead and involve your people and make them feel like they actually have a say in what's going on, and then really make sure they do have a say and then move forward, I think you can win.
Shayna?
I embrace change. Like, it's okay for things to change. Embrace it. Always be looking for what's the next thing that I can add? What can I do? How can I make my business, my life, my employees' lives better? Um, and always be on the lookout for that. And don't shut down people if they do suggest change. Take it to heart. You don't have to make those changes. Just like if my team members came in here, I just cried for Doug because I'm a team player. Do not believe Doug. He's like the older brother that went and tattled on mom and dad. Just don't believe him. Anyways, um, just because, yeah, take what people will tell you, um, and think about it. Like at minimum, like if your team members come and say, "Hey, this could make life easier," maybe you've tried it in the past and maybe it didn't. But that doesn't mean that also that if you've tried it in the past, it didn't work in the past, it won't work now either. So
Yeah.
just embrace change.
Amen. Embrace it. And I'm going to tell you the same thing. Ask yourself before you make a change, is it actually going to make things better? Do the calculated risk. Where can it blow up? I get so excited when I see a shiny thing and get a cool idea and I want to do it right now. But put some people around you that'll challenge you respectfully and take their feedback and try to find a way. If you can't find a way to implement your idea with minimal resistance or minimal risk, then maybe it's not ready yet. And, I've made some bad changes. I've made some great changes. According to other people, I made a couple good changes. The rest were all terrible. But I don't quit trying. I don't quit trying because I don't like change just for the sake of change. I like change for the sake of improvement.
Right.
Whatever makes us better is what I want to do. So we're going to close out. I want to give a shout out to Outcome Academy. This is Jenny's coaching program. It's got lots of great resources for people starting businesses, trying to build up your business. And I'm currently enrolled in the Small Business Intensive. It's very reasonably priced and guided very well. I'm 2 weeks in and I'm making progress. I feel like I have a better understanding of my business. So
Awesome.
check that out. And of course, My Office Help. I am My Office Help fanboy. I'm their biggest critic and their biggest fan. And I love them. And I'm going to keep using them and keep trying to make each other better. They make me better, and I try to make them better. That's part of the team. They are not a call center, but they answer the phones and phone calls, and they work out of a central location. That is a service they provide. But they do more than that. So there's that. uh, anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is the Service Alliance Group podcast, and make sure you check out the next mastermind coming up, Marketing 101, led by published author Michael A. Carson. Did Google Business Profile last week. And if you're an all access member, you have access to the previous recordings and you get access to the lives as well. So
All right.
we'll
Awesome.
see you tomorrow.
See you.
Bye.